The moment I knew my business partner had stolen $237,412 from me, I was standing in a Costco parking lot in Tempe, Arizona, holding a rotisserie chicken and a box of diapers. My accountant called me on a Tuesday, March 14th, 2023, tax season. He said the numbers didn't add up and that I needed to come in immediately. But let me start from the beginning. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I trusted Derek Hollis with everything I had. We met in 2016 at an insurance licensing seminar in Scottsdale. I was 29. He was 34. We hit it off immediately because we were both tired of working for other people and splitting our commissions with agencies that did nothing for us. By November of that year, we founded Hollis and Associates Insurance Group. My idea was to use my name because I already had a client base. But Derek insisted his name sounded more professional, more trustworthy. I let him have it. That was my first mistake. For the next 6 years, I was the one in the field. I drove across Maricopa County 5 days a week, meeting families, sitting at kitchen tables, explaining life insurance policies to people who didn't want to think about dying. I built that book of business from nothing. Derek handled the back office, the billing, the renewals, the carrier relationships, the bank accounts. He was good at it, or at least I thought he was. We split everything 50-50, even though I brought in about 70% of the revenue. I never complained because Derek handled the stuff I hated, and the business was growing. By 2021, we were pulling in about $800,000 a year in gross commissions. I was making around $190,000 after expenses. I bought a house in Gilbert. I married my wife Priya in October of that year. Life was good. Then Priya got pregnant with our daughter in early 2022, and I started paying closer attention to money. You do that when a baby is coming. I asked Derek for our year-end financials, and he kept putting me off. He said the CPA was behind. He said the software migration messed up the reports. He said he'd have everything by January. January turned into February. February turned into March. That's when I called our accountant myself. His name is Gary Whitfield. He runs a small firm off Rural Road in Mesa. Gary told me something that made my stomach drop. He said Derek had switched our business bank account to a new bank back in September of 2022, and that the account only had Derek's name as the authorized signer. Gary had been asking for access for months, and Derek kept delaying. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed next to Priya, who was 7 months pregnant, and I stared at the ceiling fan going around and around. The next morning, I did something I should have done years ago. I called our insurance carriers directly. I called Mutual of Omaha. I called Transamerica. I called Lincoln Financial. I asked them to send me commission statements for the prior 12 months. What I found made me physically sick. Our agency had earned $861,000 in commissions from January through December of 2022. Derek had been telling me our gross was $620,000. He'd been skimming the difference for over a year, and probably longer. When I went back further with the carriers. I found discrepancies going back to 2020. The total came to $237,412. That was money that was half mine, money I earned sitting in strangers' living rooms on Saturday mornings, while Derek was apparently renovating his house and buying a boat. Here's where most people would have lost it. They would have called Derek screaming. They would have confronted him in the office and given him a chance to lie his way out of it. I almost did. I had my phone in my hand, and I was about to dial, but Priya stopped me. She looked at me and said, "Don't you dare warn him. She's smarter than I am. She always has been." Instead, I spent the next 6 weeks building a case. I hired an attorney named Catherine Reeves, who specializes in business litigation and partnership disputes. She cost me $350 an hour, and she was worth every penny. I gave her everything: the carrier statements, our original partnership agreement, the bank records Gary could access, emails where Derek lied about revenue, all of it. Catherine told me something important. She said that because Derek had moved the business funds into an account only he controlled without my consent, it wasn't just a partnership dispute. It was potentially criminal: conversion of funds, maybe even embezzlement, depending on how the DA looked at it. I kept going to work every day. I sat across from Derek at our shared office on Baseline Road, and I smiled, and I made small talk, and I sold policies. Every morning, I wanted to flip his desk over, but I waited. Catherine told me to wait, so I waited. During those 6 weeks, I also did something else. I quietly contacted our top 40 clients, the ones I had personally signed. I told them I was considering a change and asked if they'd follow me. 36 out of 40 said yes, without hesitation. They were my clients. They trusted me, not the name on the door. On May 2nd, 2023, Catherine filed a civil lawsuit against Derek Hollis personally, and against Hollis and Associates for breach of fiduciary duty, conversion, and fraud. The same day, I resigned from the partnership via certified letter. The same day, I filed my own LLC with the Arizona Corporation Commission. Priya picked the name, Patel Premier Insurance. I opened a business account at a credit union in Chandler with both our names on it because I learned that lesson. Derek called me 40 minutes after he was served. He was screaming. He called me ungrateful. He said I was nothing before him. He said I couldn't prove anything. I let him talk for about 2 minutes, and then I said one sentence. I said, "Derek, I have every commission statement from every carrier for the last 3 years." And I hung up. His attorney tried to settle immediately. They offered me $80,000 and a clean split. Catherine laughed, not to their faces, but she laughed in her office and told me to reject it. We rejected it. They came back with 120,000. We rejected that too. Then Catherine sent over our evidence package, all 240 pages of it. And suddenly, Derek's attorney stopped calling. The case settled in October of 2023 for $194,000, plus my full release from any partnership obligations. It wasn't the full amount he stole, But Catherine said we'd spend another $60,000 going to trial. And this was the smart play. The settlement also included a non-disparagement clause, which means Derek can't badmouth me publicly. But I can tell you this story because I'm not using my real name. And this isn't about disparagement. This is about the truth. I also filed a complaint with the Arizona Department of Insurance. I don't know exactly what happened with that because those investigations are confidential. But I do know that Derek's insurance license came up for renewal in February of 2024. And the state website now shows it as inactive. Draw your own conclusions. Here's where things stand now. Patel Premier Insurance just finished its first full fiscal year. We did $572,000 in gross commissions. I hired 2 junior agents. I have a real office near Santan Village Mall with my name on the door. This time, Priya handles our books, and I can see every single transaction in real time on my phone. I will never let someone else control my money again. My daughter Mira just turned 2. She'll never know how close her dad came to losing everything before she was born. She won't know that her college fund exists because her mom told me to shut up and be strategic instead of emotional. But I'll tell her someday when she's old enough. I'll tell her that the most dangerous person in your life isn't the stranger. It's the person who has your trust and your bank account password. As for Derek, I heard through the grapevine that he tried to start another agency in Tucson. I don't know if that's true. I genuinely don't care. For 6 years, I let him handle the money because I was too busy doing the actual work to question him. I assumed good faith because he was my friend, because he came to my wedding, because he brought a gift when Mira was born, a little stuffed elephant that she still sleeps with, and the whole time he was stealing from me. I don't hate Derek. Hate takes energy, and I'd rather spend that energy on my family and my business, but I will never forgive him. There's a difference. Some people think forgiveness is the end of every story, that you have to let go to move on. That's not true. You can move on and still remember exactly what someone did to you. You can build a better life and still know exactly who tried to take it from you. The rotisserie chicken got cold in my car that day in the Costco parking lot. I remember that. I remember sitting there after Gary's call, watching people load groceries into their trunks and thinking that none of them knew my world just changed. That's the thing about betrayal. It happens in ordinary moments. You find out the worst thing someone's done to you while you're holding diapers and a $4 chicken. But I'm glad it happened in that parking lot because I drove home and I told Priya, and she looked me in the eye and she said, "We're going to handle this the right way." And we did. 36 clients followed me. A judge agreed with me. The state of Arizona agreed with me. And now I sit in my own office with my name on the wall. And every commission check goes into an account that I control. That's my story. That's what really happened. And if you're reading this and something feels off about your business partner or your spouse or whoever handles your money, listen to that feeling. Pull the statements yourself. Ask the questions they don't want you to ask, because the paper trail is always there. You just have to be willing to look.